That's God's order. But if we now start breathing in carbon dioxide and bringing out oxygen, that's not shalom. The way God planned the universe is not for bacteria and viruses and fungi and parasites to invade your system and mess up the stability of your system. That's what they call disease. You get what I'm saying now? That's what they call disease. God put order in place. That's shalom. So if something starts growing in your system, the cells go into disorder. Sometimes they call it cancer. God designed that we will live in order. God designed us to live in order. If you take these scriptures to Isaiah 26 verse 3, you will hear the Bible say, I will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on me. So just put your mind on him. It is his job to bring your peace. Let's define shalom again. Maybe they can even bring this definition. Shalom is actually the state of well-being. Write it down. The state of well-being. Shalom also is prosperity, freedom from anxiety. That's shalom. Safety from harm. That's shalom. Deliverance from enemies. That's shalom. Which of these don't you want? So whenever we greet you, shalom, that's what we're offering you. Kalabara sheke basa. I'll say it again. The state of well-being and concord, shalom. Prosperity, freedom from anxiety, safety from harm, deliverance from enemies, security, all this is shalom. The word shalom also means peace of mind, tranquility, all that is shalom. And this tranquility comes from knowing that you have been reconciled with God. Which of these don't you want? Shalom also means right relationship, harmony between individuals. That's shalom. Not only is shalom harmony between individuals, shalom is also harmony between governments. The implication: many relationships lack this kind of quality I'm introducing to you now. Many marriages lack this quality. Many communities lack the quality called shalom. The question is why? That's why we're here. Shalom is ultimate sense of safety. In your marriage, do you have shalom? In siblings and friends, is there shalom? In your workplace, is there shalom? Number two, there are three aspects of peace described by the Bible. Three aspects of peace. The first one is peace with God. The second one is peace of God. Peace with God, peace from God. But the one we're discussing today is the peace of God. So three aspects of peace. Peace from God. Paul will always, when he's writing, he will say he will release this peace from God to you. Then there is peace with God, which means you have made peace with God. But there is peace of God. And it is the peace of God that I'll be describing and discussing at this meeting today. Number three, what is God's peace? What exactly is God's peace? It's called the unruffled serenity of the infinitely happy God. Charles Spurgeon said it. Unruffled serenity of the infinitely happy God. the eternal composure of the absolutely well-contented God. So this peace is his own that he delivers to you. In John chapter 14, verse 27, he said, my peace I leave with you, my peace, his own peace. He says, not as the world gives, do I give to you. He said, do not let your heart be troubled, neither let them be afraid. Stop allowing yourselves to be agitated and disturbed. Do not permit yourselves to be fearful and intimidated and cowardly and unsettled. The peace I'm talking about is not derived from what you have. It's not derived from what you know. It's not derived from standing here and remembering that you have a passport, that if anything happens, you can run away. It's not the peace I'm talking about. This peace is God that has it. It is his nature. It is his being. It is that peace Jesus said, I give you. This is not different from what Paul said when he said, the peace of God, which surpasses all human understanding, is with you. My dear friends, I took some time and began to check who are the kind of people that have this kind of peace. I realized that there are some people, when you come around them, they are constantly calm, no matter what is going on. They are unruffled. You talk about anything, they are so unruffled. There is some kind of calmness and purity around them. I may not have found a figure today, but I found it in Jesus. In Matthew chapter 4, verse 35. In fact, I read the story and I had a laugh. I read it again. I want them to bring that story. Let's read it together. Matthew chapter 4 from verse 35. The Bible says Jesus was inside the boat. And there was storm. And he was sleeping. Matthew chapter 4. On that evening, on that day when evening had come, he said to them, let us go across to the other side. Verse 36. And leaving the crowd, they took him with them in a boat, just as he was. Verse 37. And other boats were with them. Verse 37. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves were breaking into the boat, so that the boat was already filling. Now, if you are in a car, and the car is shaking, everybody in the car will be apprehensive and be wondering. Some of you will be bleeding, blood of Jesus, blood of Jesus, blood of Jesus, blood of Jesus. Like, sometimes you enter plane, and there is a bit of shaking. Some of you will start praying in tongues. Let's selekata. Angels, hold this plane now. Hold this plane now. That's what always happens. But look at this Jesus, verse 38. And he was in the stern, asleep. Which kind of person be this? Asleep. If you are like the class Sister Victoria was describing, he said the moment you heard, whoa, I don't see anybody except your Papa Chidume that he told us a story where he was in the plane and they said there's going to be a huge turbulence. He said, Father, you give your beloved sleep, give me sleep. He said he slept off. When they landed, someone said, thank God, oh, thank God, oh. He said, what happened? He said, it was so turbulent. Papa Chidume said, I was asleep. He said, you're a madman. Yes, I know. It will only take a madman. No, it will take a normal man, not a madman. I will explain it. Verse 38. And they had to wake him up and said to him, Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing? Then he awoke. You mean all those turbulence did not wake this guy? And he rebuked the wind and said to the sea, this is what I like, peace, semicolon. Then he says, be still. In other words, the peace that is already inside, continue to be. That's what he said. It's not peace, be still. Peace, semicolon. Be still. comma, be still. In other words, the peace that is already on my inside, continue to be. And then he turns to them and said, why are you so afraid? I'm sure they would have asked him, why we no go fear? Why won't we be afraid? I believe I'm the one reading this now. Jesus turned around and continued his sleep. That's peace. This state of peace, we're going to discuss now how it works. What is it that will make you calm when you just get a report, a medical report, showing you there is something growing in your body? What is it that will make you that calm? With all the things we are reading on the social media, on the news, kidnapping, from kidnapping to so and so, to so and so, as if everything is going down. What is it that is giving you so much peace? It's not just in Africa, in every nation of the world. What is it that will make you have this peace? What is it that will give you peace? When you look as if that your time is passing, maybe time to have birth, give birth, time to get married, your time is passing. And some of us who say at 30, I would have built my house. At 31, I would have finished. At 45, I have retired. At 50, I have traveled all the nations of the world. If you set such milestone, this is now 32, you have not even started giving birth. In fact, you got married, the children have not come. What is it that will give you stability? Or you work in a place where they have announced that they are going to be firing some people. They will be downsizing. What is it that will make you have that kind of peace? Or you married someone who is very toxic, who understands nothing, someone who is very self-centered. Hey. Or you are in a place, that time in your marriage when it's so turbulent, when you just realize that the finances are low. Shalom, dear friends, and welcome to another very wonderful edition. Can I see the comments, please? Who is with us? Someone said, Jesus is calling my name. Okay. Everybody, you can hear us. If you can hear us, we are good to go. I'm here with two very wonderful people. We are still here to strengthen families and impact society. And family does not just mean your biological family. Anywhere you have relationship, we call that family. Okay, so have you ever damaged anybody before? Have you been damaged? We'll find that out as we begin this conversation. But I would like my guests to introduce themselves in no particular order.
Okay, I'll go first. My name is enlightened, and I am an academic coach. A lot of people have been asking, what is an academic coach and what do they do? So an academic coach is somebody that works with you, whether you're a parent or a student or a teacher, to ensure that you are able to understand whatever you have to read, you're able to understand effectively whatever you have to assimilate. And we'll come up with strategies for the assimilation, strategies for preparation for exams, so that you can ace them as at when due, right? So I think I'll give it over to you.
That was really nice. That was very nice, Nathan. Thank you so much for that. I realized that the world today, we need more of people like you, especially for the people upcoming. Hello, friends. Good evening. My name is Ifwekwai Okoro, and I am a licensed trauma-informed psychotherapist and a certified marriage and family counselor. I am interning under Unbound, and I'd really just love to get people to sit with their emotions so we can become whole the way God created us to be. So that's who I am, and we're really excited to be on this edition of Let's Chat with Pastor K.
Let's chat with all of us. Okay, friends, you know we have 30 minutes, so we're going to hit the ground running. Today is, thank you so much. You can see that we have very qualified people to discuss this. And each time we're talking about this, we bring a case study and then bring someone who can do justice to the case study. All right, so we have an academic coach and a license. Someone said the volume is low. Okay, if you can work on that volume so that we can hit the road running. Last week or 2 weeks back, we were having a conversation, and Nathan told me a shocking story, and I told him we're going to have that discussion on next chat. So I want him to tell the story the way he can. Then the psychotherapist will tell us what are we going to do about it. Okay. The volume is where, don't worry, go ahead.
All right. I remember the story I was telling Pastor about. It was one time in my 400 level. We're having this course in molecular biology, and we were talking about laboratory techniques. If you are in a molecular biology lab, what are the techniques you need? And before you get to the point of techniques, obviously you have to have had the tools on ground. So this lecturer in question was asking, normally I do not like to talk in class. I do not see anything except its experience. Take for instance, the lecturer says he's not going to move on until somebody sees something, and so that's when I said so. But at this particular point in time, the lecturer said everybody had to say something. So he was moving from one seat to the other and saying, okay, you say this, you say that, what are the tools we need? And people got to observe what they knew. And it got to my turn. It got to my turn, and I had read his textbook. So I knew some of the tools that we would use in a molecular biology lab. And I said the particular tool that I remembered. He said that nobody should mention what somebody has said before. So the one I remembered, I said it. And the next thing I heard from him was, do you even have a brain? Do you think, how are you in 400 level? That was my final year. I had 100 level, I had good grades, 200 level, very good grades. When I'm talking good grades, like top grades, 200, 300. Then I'm in 400 level and you're telling me, do I have a brain? Telling me.
He said it to you or behind you?
He said it to me in the class. In the class, I was standing in the entire class. Everybody were all seated. The entire class was seated, and I was standing. I had to answer my lecture, so I stood. And he said that. And for days, that destabilized me. Because I actually did open the textbook. After he said that, I opened the textbook and I saw it. I saw it. I said, why would this man say this? I know what I said. And it's in the textbook. It's in this particular page. And it took me a long time. I really was shaken to my core. And it was bad. It was really bad. It was really bad.
How long ago was this?
This was, I think this was last year, July, August.
You still remember? So we're going to, can you imagine? I'm sure there's a lecturer in front of me, he used to lecture, we're going to drag him in. We're going to drag in some of the lecturers one day. Let them come and tell us why they're behaving like this. So we're going to ask if we could, from your training, and then tell us, what do you think the impact of this one sentence will be on him? Let's talk as a parent, break it down in such a way that people of different live streams will understand how they are damaging other people.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
First of all, I just have to say, Nathan, I'm very sorry, because that experience, it's something, a lot of times it's tribalized as Nasoibi, let's take it like that. But no, this is at the very core of your personality, the core of your being and character. A lot of people have this kind of event happen to them and they cannot recover. They don't graduate, they don't become anything, because you have a person, a position of power over your life, speaking such damaging words. I bet you, I'm sure you must have gone through cycles of shame. You must have gone through cycles of fear, because this was not just done in private. Now it was done in public, in the midst of your peers, so to speak. And then you might not start finding yourself. You see, one thing you said was that you went back to check. So this also puts it to us, like parents, people, the people you encounter, just once in a lifetime. The words that you say, they may never get that chance to come back and tell you, oh, this is what you said and you were not correct. So this now has left a kind of mark in people's lives. That is how deep the cycle of words is going over and over again. So if I'm to take it, another cycle that could happen from an event or an encounter like this is called cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
This is what a majority of us feel. We call it, another form of it is a form of identity crisis. So let's take this instance now. Let's bring it to the home. A parent tells a child, oh, now so it be, you know, this African saying, Mama, you're a mom. I'm sure you must have said this to one of your children. Mommy, I came back and I got 7/10. You don't validate the effort the child has made. You don't validate the joy the child has come to use to tell you this is what happened. The next thing we say it, and I'm sure a lot of you can guess and say it as well. What happened to the other 3 marks?
Yes.
The other people that got 10/10. They have 2 heads. That is something that we think is easy, but that kind of thing, the child goes back. Now, psychology has told us, and the Bible reaffirms it, your brain does not have the capacity to differentiate between truth or lies.
Right.
That's true.
So in a situation like this, you will have a child go back into cognitive dissonance. That is a phenomenon, a psychological phenomenon where you have 2 conflicting beliefs. So then you're having people now saying, oh, I think I'm intelligent. You see what he said? He said 100 level, 200 level, I'm smart. But then you have a person that you believe is a person of authority over you. And the person just says this one word. You start guessing. Am I really as intelligent as I thought? Am I really good enough? Then it now puts you either on 2 sides of the angle. Either you're now led into low self-esteem that ripples into failure, ripples into imposter syndrome, a chronic form of imposter syndrome, or you now ripple into performance, where you will do everything in your life. Your lecturer is not there anymore, but you must prove to every other person that is with you that, hey, I know my stuff, I know my onions. So the question to you out there today is, what are the ways that other people have said something that has hurt you? You may remember the incident vividly, or you may remember the words vividly. You can just put some of them in the comments and let us know. Ask us the questions. Okay, somebody is asking, did he go back to the lecturer? So let's ask you, did you have the opportunity to go back?
I did not have the opportunity to go back to the lecturer. Let's say I did, but I didn't want to go back because I felt so ashamed. And the part I didn't say was, for days I could not read. For days.
I hope you're hearing.
For days, I would open the course and I'll be like, anytime I open the course, I just keep on, I get reminded of that. Like, why would he say something like this? Why would he, is it that he hates me, or have I done something to him before that just made him, because, yes,
like
because
that.
I was right. So I just pushed it aside. I pushed it aside.
In fact, one of my daughters told me that she feels, that is her feeling, that sometimes lecturers love to put students down.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Unfortunately, lecturers are not here now to come and use their own mouth to say whether it's true. Do you feel so?
Mommy, the thing is, it's not just lecturers. It's not just lecturers. If you drill it down, when we talk about lecturers, talk about university setting, right?
Right.
If we drill it down to secondary school, senior secondary school, junior secondary school, even primary school, you find out that a lot of teachers do it. A lot.
If you're a teacher, come and hear. Come and hear, teacher.
I would like to break this down a bit deeper.
Okay.
Because when we do things like this and we say teachers, it kind of leave responsibilities alone in the hands of the people we have said in this case study. Let's break it down. Recently, the internet was all about this bullying case that happened with some secondary school students. And I had the opportunity of interacting with some amazing students in Young Film Assembly, Future House, this last week, Sunday.
Okay.
The conversation we had with them bordered around themselves. I watched how they spoke with themselves, how they were able to, some people were giving some debilitating words, some people were countering it, and then I was imagining the school setting that actually allows this to happen. So on one angle, we might just look at it as this just happened. But then, as you said, let's look at it from the angle of the other person. Let's look at it from the angle of the lecturer, the bully, the parent that is also not doing so good in managing their emotions, that they spill onto the children.
Yes.
When we're not able to have a better handle on our emotions, we tend to pour it out on not just one person, you pour it out on everyone around you. So it's not a thing of, oh, I'll keep these good emotions for my family and then I'll give the other one. You know, there's something they always say during Father's Day and Mother's Day. Let me just bring this joke up again here. Everybody comes and says, Mother's Day, oh, my sweet mommy, my best mommy. And then Father's Day, oh, my amazing father. Then somebody now asked, so who is the demon that is always the secretary in the school office that does not let us file our clearance form? You know, there's always that one person that's like, yeah, that's somebody's mother.
Yeah.
But why is it that that person is wicked to another individual, saying terrible words? And that's what they do form. That's what they write. This is a university student that is trying to find their identity in school, because it is actually in the setting of an academic place like that. Uniben says, we have found you worthy in character and in learning. So that is where you are building character, and the people that are around you to uplift, uphold the standard for you to see are also the ones that are part of the problem that is pulling you down. Sometimes it's difficult for us to have strong, healthy individuals graduating, but we have highly intelligent individuals graduating.
Okay.
I think this
That's fantastic. Let me hear you.
this is
You were trying to say something about teachers in primary school before you move.
all right.
Finish it.
Yes.
Then we'll go and see what I say.
I was saying teachers in primary school, it's not just about lecturers, like we mentioned. Teachers in primary school, teachers in secondary school also do this stage. And like you also mentioned, people have not learned how to have a handle, a grasp on their emotions. So you have people advancing their intelligence, how they can regurgitate information, how they can process information, but then how to handle the things that make them human, their emotions, how to have a grasp on it and say, okay, this is how I feel now. And I know I feel this way, but this is not the best way to act. So I'm going to act different, irrespective of how I feel. Acknowledging the emotions, but choosing how you want to act. A lot of people do not have that intelligence, emotional intelligence.
Question to the
That's right,
people.
you said.
I have a question to the people. Please let us know, was there any point in your primary, secondary, university, postgraduate level of your life that you had someone sit you down and teach you how to handle your emotions? Just let us know in the comments. We're reading, we're watching. Thank you for the people that are sharing their experiences. We're reading it, we're seeing it. Some is really encouraging. Some I'm seeing that you may need to book a session with Unbound. Let's delve inside. Let's get to understand, how did this kind of scenarios or encounters, how did they make you feel?
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Let's take some of, 14 minutes. Let's take some of the comments that we have there. Very soon we will ask you to phone in. Can we go, can we see the comments, please? Can we see the comments?
Somebody screamed no. They never thought them. They never thought him.
Can you go up a bit?
Okay.
Let's see the comments.
Okay, somebody is asking, should it be taught from primary school? Should emotional intelligence be taught from primary school?
What do you guys think?
What do you think?
Okay, let's take the first question, then we can come to the second.
Okay.
I usually will round off the meeting. There was something Miss House of Scanubis said. He said, I said, oh, no, you go back up, please. Okay, thank you. He says, can you read it?
All the times parents say some words out of anger to their children, and that in turn destabilizes the child's thoughts and makes them feel self-doubt, and it's also one key reason for the attitude of low self-esteem. That's very true.
Thank you so much, House of Scanubis. We are not criticizing parents. We are not criticizing parents, because one day we're going to be a parent. That's why we're having this conversation at all, so that the would-be parents and the parents who still have children at home are able to make slight corrections. So the person you need to control is yourself, not the other person, because you have to come to a place where you know that emotions is like waves of the sea. They go up and then they come down. Your children will misbehave because we live in a fallen world. And because we live in a fallen world, you will see these children behaving in a certain way. So the issue becomes, you must have a budget on how you want to respond when so and so happens. It's very important. And that's where the Holy Spirit comes to help. so that you're not using your powers. Someone said, did that experience define you in any way? They were asking you. That's from a thing. Did that experience? Yes.
Did that experience define me in any way?
Yeah.
I think it almost did.
Yeah.
It almost did, but there's another thing I'm grateful for: community. Community. I remember after some time, it got so bad that I had to talk with my friends. Yes, it was bad. It was bad. A part of I realized that a major part of where I get my confidence from is the fact that I'm smart. Yes. I know that I'm smart, so it's fine. I've always had from primary school, he's smart but he's playful. He's smart but he talks a lot. He's smart but he does this and that. But they always affirm that I am smart. Now there's somebody saying I'm a complete olodo. It's
Destabilizing.
So we're seeing now that this young man here has been deriving his identity from his being smart. In other words, there's been this, forgive me to use warped thinking, that I am nothing. If you remove the smartness, I am nothing. And you are much more than being smart. You are an investment of opportunities. I was saying that I was saying that today because I have not seen it. I've been reading that scripture until I saw it today. It said that the eyes of your understanding be flooded with light, that you may know the glorious riches of the inheritance he deposited inside you. I used to think that it was the glorious inheritance that he has. It is today it dawned on me that this inheritance that you're talking about is you. You are God's inheritance. So which means you are much more than being smart. So we need to be sure how we are deriving our identity, the definition of your worth and your value. It must never come from achievement, from position, from possession, from place. It has to come from, I'm a believer, it has to come from the relationship you have with Christ. So, young man, very important that your intelligence is not what defines you. That's why that they hit you so much. That if we're using psychology now to finish you, to beat you up and down, say you have psychoanalysis, well, we're not saying psychology is wrong, but we're trying to explain to you, want to put in human words.
Yes.
To explain to you the emotion that goes through someone when someone has gone through this kind of thing, and then show you what to do, because you can't guarantee how people will treat you.
Yes.
Okay, next one is who is the person who is holding this thing? My friend. Should the emotional intelligence, we're running out of time. Mr. Yeshua, can you help us with that? Someone said, should emotional intelligence be taught in school?
From primary school.
Should emotional intelligence be taught?
If I'm to be honest, it's one thing for you to say, should it be taught in schools? But it's another thing for you to take responsibility for your own knowledge. So before we start talking about the primary schools, where you are working, what are you doing to learn this? The information is out there. You have Unbound, you have Firm Foundation. There are a plethora of information all around you. But the problem is, do we think it's necessary? So sorry for the breaking transmission. Do we think it's important? Now, everyone is saying in the comment section, which I love, how this affected me, this affected me. The next question I'll pose to you is, okay, what next? What are we going to do about it? Sometimes we also it's also part of the psychological effect of the things that have happened to us. We just sit with it like, oh, this happened to me, oh, this happened to me, oh, this happened to me. We don't want to make that extra move to say, okay, what am I going to do next? So the question I wanted to ask Nathan was, how is it that you're here? How did you graduate? Despite that, did you encounter someone? Did you encounter another person that's spoken to you?
Yes.
That was even
That was where I was going to when I said I'm grateful for community. I had friends. So I had friends that saw that this was what was happening to me. And when I got to meet them, I told them this is the entire story. I explained everything to them. And the first thing that happened was they started laughing. Now, the reason they laughed was not because they were insensitive.
Yes.
They laughed to tell me it's one of those things,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to live above it.
Yes.
And then by the time my friends finished speaking, one of them told me how he read so hard, and then lecturers were just giving him F. And then my friend is also very smart, one of the smartest people I know. He's one of the best strategists in Nigeria at the moment.
What are they giving him?
At his school,
Power play.
he just had to a
Just
couple
a
of
power
you have
play.
to block the courses. They need those things from you. So he decided to read.
Comment section.
And then-
Can you give us the earlier comments, please? Go ahead.
He decided to read and try to pass his course, but then he was seeing F's. And then he just said, it's one of those things. You have to learn how to
Live with it.
yes, just it happened, but it should not define you.
Mm-hmm.
So you know who you are. You know that you are smart, right? You know that this is what you can do. This is what you're capable of. You know you were right. So just let it go. Let it go. Live above it. And when I saw this particular person had a couple of F, had a couple of caribas, but then was still happy, still held on to who he was, and didn't let it face him at any point.
You just have to
I
pick
had
yourself
to
up
pick
as
myself
well.
up.
I think that's really good.
Beautiful. Now
That's
let's
really
see.
good.
Let's see
Let's
more
see this
comments. Can
question.
I see the earlier comments? Not. Is it?
Somebody asked the question,
Boy
like, how
Scouts,
do you
yeah.
handle shame?
Okay. How
That's
do
just
you
you,
handle?
yeah.
Where do you see that?
Perfect.
Come, these people who are organizing this comment. Can you go up?
Mhm.
We want to take the comments that came earlier. Oh, no.
I think there's a very good place to start.
I
How
want-
can
I
you
wanted us to
handle?
take the earlier comment. Go ahead.
How can you handle?
Go ahead.
How can
Continue
you
with
handle
it.
shame? How can a student handle shame after a scenario like this? The teacher has called everyone's results in class, and they all scored above average, but then just one student didn't pass, was called out to the front, and everybody was made to sing Olobo Olodo Rabata
You know
for
that
him and
song?
her. Sorry, no. I know the Olodo Rabata part. I do know the Olodo Rabata part. But this is actually very common. This is very common. And I think we'll just put it to three things. First of all, we have to validate. Yes, this happened to you. We have to acknowledge that, okay, yes.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, laughter and putting it off has become our coping mechanism.
Yeah, true.
But at the end of the day, when you're about to go to bed, those scenarios come. They play. And just like we know in Unbound, we've gotten to understand how lies are formed. And it's deep-rooted. That's what happens with words. Words have seeds. The events that happen has now become like a fertile ground for that wrong seed to blossom. So you cannot just say, oh, laugh it off, or oh, let it go. In your presence there to make you feel okay, the person will say, okay, fine, I've let it go. But it stays with the person.
Yeah.
Sometimes that shame can push you back,
Yeah.
so back that you find the person that is timid, everybody calls humble, is not really humble, but the child is timid because of some scenarios that has happened upbringing.
True.
You know this school fees drive they used to do? Oh, it's time for school fees, and then they call everybody out, and these people are left for everybody to see, oh, they've not paid school fees.
Yeah.
I understand it's a way they're trying to put pressure on the parents to do the right things or take their responsibilities. But the immense impact it has on the child is far more than academic. Even down to their future, some cycles will now be repeated where we'll now have the lecturers that now are in positions to do that same kind of power play in another one. So it actually has to start from, first of all, you have to acknowledge that yes, this happened.
Yeah.
And I felt like this before we now go to take it out and dismantle the lies.
Awesome. Awesome. You know, today I was talking about rejection.
Yes, ma'am.
That is first class rejection.
Very much.
And rejection can be so painful, What's the solution? Teachers need to, no, not just teachers. If you have the opportunity to preside over anyone, it could be your domestic staff, I don't call it house help.
Yeah.
It could be someone that is helping you carry your children. Please, let's reduce the shame. Sometimes you're repeating. It's a vicious cycle.
Yes.
It was done to you. You are doing it to another person. It has devastating effect. I know a child that defecated on her body, when this kind of thing happened.
Yeah.
The child cannot forget it. This is 30 years after. He's not able to forget this kind of thing.
Wow.
Your words, the words you use on people. So the problem is not with them. The problem is always with us. Because you give what you have per time.
True.
Yes.
If you have love, you will give love.
True.
If you have rejection, you will give rejection. But you have to come to a point where you tell yourself that this vicious circle has to end here.
Yes, it ends here.
I grew up a house, a domestic staff, and some of the things I experienced then, I don't want to pass it to another person, but that's a level of intelligence.
Yeah.
There has to, because when you're talking about self-awareness, when you're talking about emotional intelligence, you are dealing with, first of all, self-awareness.
Yes.
Before you now start talk about self-management, before you now talk about social awareness, before you now talk about relationship management. So if you are not aware,
You will never.
some people can be doing something, being wicked to another person, and they are
They
not
have
aware.
no idea. Yes.
So they even
Like-
derive pleasure from
Yes.
someone's pain.
Yes.
You see how we damage other people. We practically derive pressure. You see someone cry. You say until
That
blood comes
comes
out from your
out.
eyes.
Yes.
You have not even started. It's not good. Yes. And you know we say not black. That they kill black man. That they
Continue.
kill black man.
Yes.
These experiences are being stored somewhere.
Yes.
They are being stored somewhere. And unfortunately, if they are stored on the body, you see the person bleeding. You can help the person.
Yes.
That this thing you're telling us now, the man did not beat you, the man did not touch you, the
Yes.
man did not shoot you, but you have been crying since then. But you stop crying today. My friends, these issues we are discussing is very, very important to me.
Very.
The way we treat other people. I'm saying that if you don't have self-awareness, I was discussing something with someone today. The person is always afraid. And I told the person that you're able to come to a place where you have come to know that I feel I'm not good enough is a good place to start.
Yes.
It's a bad place where you are excusing it. When you say, that's how I was born.
Yes, that's how I am.
That's how I
Yeah.
am.
Yes.
That's a level of, it's no insight at all. It's a level of mental problem. So it's that place you now know that, this is the kind of person, I am someone that I don't feel I'm good enough.
Yes.
You are aware. How do I
Exactly.
How do I manage this
Yes.
thing? Do I like it? Do I want to stay like this?
Yes.
Because sometimes someone is like this, you feel that you're not good enough.
Yes.
That what makes you good is that you must strive at all costs to be better than everybody. You can crush people trying to be that.
True.
Yes.
Because it's feeding something into
In you.
So my friends, you can see that this thing, we didn't finish this discussion. There are so many comments. I want to take comments one after the other. Because sometimes when we leave, the people say, you didn't take my comment first, you want to take the last one. That's why I went there to go and make sure that we're taking the comments as they are coming. Those of you managing the computer, can we see the comment after that one? There was a comment on drawing.
He was sharing his experience.
You were sharing this.
Yes, he was sharing his experience.
Yeah.
If I'm to give a summary on
Go
that,
ahead.
he was saying his parents were not really up to par in, encouraging him until an uncle saw his drawing and then let him know, like, oh, you're creative. So that kind of started the boost for his confidence, where it actually now impacted him in the rest of his life. That was what that comment was
Awesome.
about.
Awesome.
Yes.
So which means you don't need to, everybody must.
Everybody has a stake in this, yes.
There's something called authoritative community. That anybody that you have authority over, you have a responsibility
Yes.
to make sure that the person's life is better than your own. Okay? There's some people feel good when they put others down. It simply means they are broken.
Yes.
Hurting people, hurting.
Others.
Yes.
Very
It
true.
was Chidera that was telling us that sometimes you find out that some lecturers will really, really want to put you there, even though you got the answer right. They'll try to get you to a place where you don't even believe that.
And makes them
If I'm to even bring another one, on the sphere of psychology and understanding how people respond to things, there was a conversation we were having with a very top minister in the country, where somebody stood up to ask him a question in a very, there's this belief that people that speak good English, all that Queen's English, are very intelligent
Yes.
and prideful.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So she asked him a very clear question, but because he could not answer because of, in quote, the Queen's English, he just completely poured on down. Now he is in a higher post. She's just a reporter asking a question. So you see, it really buttresses what you said. That it is authoritative community. Everybody has a stake in this. However, the 1, 2, 3 people you have around you. The question you always ask that I never forget is, what do you do when you're the most powerful person in the room?
Yes, what do you really do?
If now let's remove room because you're waiting to be in that room of authority. But what do you do when you're the most powerful person or the highest person at the table?
On the table.
In the room.
Yes.
At the church.
Yes.
In the school.
Yes.
Or the parking lot of your children's school when you go to drop your children. All these things they're all different dynamics that play out. So it's like every opportunity you find yourself, you have that privilege to be that one person that speaks one good thing to somebody, no matter what, no matter where.
As we're beginning to round off, let's borrow us just 3 minutes. Someone said this comment on African parents not having emotional intelligence. I feel like it wasn't their fault, honestly. They just showed us when they knew best. I don't feel African parents. It's not just Africa, but primarily, I do not feel African parents do not have emotional intelligence. I just feel it's on per person basis. I'm serious. It's on per person basis. There are some people that have spoken to me, have sweet fathers. Very sweet guy. Very wonderful father. Very supportive. The father that you would think that the father was just came into the 21st century. I've seen that. I've seen very supportive mothers. I met a woman about 15 years ago, she was about 50. 15 years ago, she was about 50 something. You know what she would tell her children? Say, see, if you have any challenge with, you find out anywhere that you have something to do with your boy and it turns to pregnancy, please don't go and abort. Just come and meet me. Come and meet me. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss. I will see her discussing heartbreak with her children. These are some of the things you can't discuss in my house. You can't try it.
That's true.
For my mom, what I was told, as I think I was in primary 4, when I started having menstruation, my mom was very educated. Then she was the secretary of one of the political parties. She could write in our village. Then we used to write most time. What was her teaching? Her sex education. She told me, say, once you start seeing this blood, once you stand in front of a man, and the man looks at your eyes, you're pregnant. And I believed it. Honestly, I thought, yes, I believed it, that I was in primary 4.
Wow.
Of course, you know that the curriculum there is different from the curriculum.
Yes.
So I believe so. When I'm having menses, if anyone is talking to me,
you turn your eyes.
Even if he's my brother, I'll look at it. So it doesn't have to do with African parents. It has to do with per person. All right? Let's communicate that. You can't say because our parents, that they don't go to school, they don't mean that they are not intelligent.
Yes.
All right. Let's take the last question, if there is anyone, or the last comment. We will have to start rounding off. It says, I think so. There was something about Lagos. There was something. I think before we work on healing these broken people, we should still work on how to protect our children
Who might
become prey to this broken set. Thank you, okay. That's why we're having this discussion. You can even screen record some of these discussions and put them. And I was thinking about, I told my daughter Charity, I told her, many years ago, we used to have these meetings at the market. We go to market to teach women how to take care of their children. We used to do that, yes, many years ago. We have town hall meeting with market children, women, and start teaching them how to take care of their children. We used to go to maternity, where they do what's that when you are pregnant. You go to antenatal. Yes, we go to the public hospital, and then we used to teach them how to take care of their children. And while Transform was going on, I told myself, we need to go back there.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. We will not be able to save the entire world, but we can make a difference no matter how small. Okay? So protecting our children from this brokenness means that there has to be an atmosphere of love at home. My son put up a comment there. He said, I have very supportive parents, but I never felt it. The reason why is he saying that, I can also tell you why. Because we discuss everything. Whether you like it or not, every job you do will impact on the people that are
Yes.
Okay. That's enough for one day. Thank you so much, my friends. Let me allow everybody to make a comment before we go. 1 minute, make a comment, and then we'll pick it up from here next week. Let's hear the comments from everybody. Let me start with Nathan. Go ahead.
Okay, I think the session has been very insightful for me.
Raise your voice.
I think the session has been very insightful for me. One key thing I'm taking away from here is, what do I base my identity on? And two, what do I do when I am the most powerful person in the room? If I'm the most powerful person in the room, do I put others down or I empower them? That's anyone I do reflects who I am on the inside and what I hold as my identity. So those two. So I'm going to go home today and then reflect on those.
That's really powerful.
Beautiful.
If I'm to say, I think the first thing I would say is, who you are is not a reflection of what you have, who you know, or where you come from, or what you do. That's true. Who you are is who God has said you are, and you have to take your time to know the God that has called you. That's really what I have to take. And also, if you find yourself anywhere, be the reason why someone can believe they are good enough.
That's a fantastic one. My closing statement, I want you to listen to this. You see, you can never give what you don't have.
True.
It's whether we like it or not, you will always give. So what should you do? Everything you want to see in life, start producing it inside you.
Yeah.
I will always take you back to meditation. I will always take you back to His presence. Begin to produce the blueprint you want society to have from inside you, because it is what is inside that reflects on the outside. Secondly, before you do something to someone, first of all, reframe it. Reframe it.
Yes.
Yes. Before you say something,
Yeah.
you think, one of my daughters told me that someone did something and she told the person, you're very wicked. I said, no, that's not good. Why didn't you find a way to reframe what you're saying so the person does not feel burnt by your words? Thank you so much, my wonderful friend.
Thank you so much for
We
having
will
us
be
here.
back next
week.
And from all of us here, it's always
Shalom.
you can see that we say it at the same time. Thank you, my friends.